Hello, Connective. Today we have the Psychic Reading cards. Looking for a one card read here from the Psychic Reading card deck. One card to talk about today from the Psychic Reading cards. This deck doesn't really want to talk that much today, I've noticed. I'm going to do some general reads later. I wonder if it's going to talk then. I just want one card. Just one card to talk about. Surely this deck has something to say. Something maybe that we haven't. Okay, we I believe have gotten that card before in like a general read, but talk about that forever. Let me read it. Infinity. Your connection to the universe is limitless. You have received this card as the universe wants to inform you that you are blessed with the gift of an abundant and never-ending connection to source energy. Infinity is a natural state of being. You are connected to a limitless supply of life-changing energy in whatever way, shape, or form you require. The most important thing to remember is that what you think you create. This card represents the infinite connection to the universe and all that is contained within it. Infinity can come in the form of infinite abundance, connection, love, health, joy, peace, finances, and happiness, just to name a few. When a loved one passes away, their love for you is infinite and has the power to always connect with you through time and space. This card will reassure you that love has no beginning and no end, and their love never dies. Receiving the Infinity card represents new beginnings and new connections to the universe's abundant source energy. Have you ever thought or questioned whether or not your life's path will improve? Do you wonder why things in your life seem to be challenging? Do you ever see the number 8, which is the universe's psychic sign that abundance and source energy is on its way into your life? The universe has given you this card to reaffirm your connection and to remind you that anything is possible and situations in life can always improve and change for the better. So, first of all, if you have been seeing 8s anywhere, this is a confirmation, to you that yes, abundance is coming your way. I like the way that it talked about, infinite abundance coming in the form of, basically infinity as infinite abundance, connection, love, health, joy, peace, finances, and happiness, because in really any way that you can think about is what it can come to you. And, people often forget that they have an infinite connection. I know when this card came up before, we talked about abundance. We may have talked about infinity, but, that infinite connection is kind of coming to me a little bit, I would say a little bit different this time as far as like the impression that I'm getting from this card. And, basically, you can always tap into that energy that we're talking about, that infinite source energy, for a lot of things, for information, for rejuvenation, for healing, just to name a few. There's a lot of ways to do it, and like some of them are foolproof, really. So if you're one of those people that when you're in a spiritual awakening, you do research, like you gather information kind of thing, and you, you know, I was going to say compile it, but, at least organize it in a way where, you kind of can keep track of, you know, all the different ways that you could connect to source energy, or that you have connected to source energy, or that you believe you can connect to source energy, or that you've seen other people connect to source energy. I believe that is exactly what this card is addressing at this time. I'm thinking like direct connections right now, but there's probably a lot of like really indirect, like, I mean, direct ways to tap into, source energy. When I do anything with light, I bring it from above. If I'm clearing my energy field, if I'm clearing my stones, if I'm recharging my, crystal grid, I bring all that light from above. That's an endless source. I know. If I needed that light for anything, for any reason, to defend myself, whatever, I know that there's an instant source there for me. Like I said, protection, clearing my energy field. When you like automatic write, that's a connection. It's channeling. It's a connection to source, and then channeling on its own. And, sometimes people just hear the message. There's so many different ways to cultivate that connection, and then there's so many different areas to use that in. It's the reason why, people on a spiritual awakening, like all these different people on spiritual awakenings, all decide to do different stuff with their gifts. Well, first of all, it's because they all have different interests, and they know something about the interest that they're following, and then they know, they get that more insight, that connection that gives them more insight into what they like and care about and what they've learned about, and then it takes them even that step further, and that's why everybody does something different. When everybody's good at different things, really helps when you act to your greatest excitement. You get a lot more of just everything, if you don't insist on the outcome and you just go for what you want. This will keep coming up for you. Like I said, if this keeps coming up for you and you don't have it yet, it's coming. It's coming. Sometimes it's kind of starts, but you don't realize it. You don't realize what you're saying. Sometimes things happen in our life. Just as an example, I mean, I've been hearing this a lot lately, and a lot of times people, they go through something in their life that they consider to be bad, but it's really like opening the door for something else. It's kind of like something that has to go, so that they can kind of do the other thing in their life, and they don't take that as abundance. They take it as like bad fortune or whatever, and they don't realize that sometimes that's just part of what's coming in. It's just part of it. So recognizing what when things happen, and especially if it's something that you don't want to happen, being able to look at it with new eyes, and being able to see the other things that are there, the things that maybe you should be focusing on, because your abundance is coming in, and you really have to kind of notice it. Sometimes you could be manifesting, and you could be manifesting like multiple things at the same time, and you might not even realize you could do it. Like you might have heard it before, like when, like say you watch The Secret, you go, oh, manifestation, oh, manifesting, oh, okay, I get it, manifesting, and then the first time you do it, you don't realize that you did that because you just weren't really watching. You weren't really seeing in all the ways that your manifestation could show you abundance. It might be a small thing, and then it might have to happen again before you actually realize, oh, wait. Or like something else has to happen. Like say you are looking for something, you're looking all over for something, and you're like, there must be. But then that's not the only thing you're looking for. So then you kind of just walk away from it. You start looking for something else, and you're like, well, there must be some type of this, somebody must make something like this. I can't be the only person that wants this. And then that first thing pops up and you find it, and you see it, but you don't buy it right away because you're thinking, yeah, it's out there. I see it. There's one, let me just save this and I'll come back to it because I want to compare it. And then, you go and you're looking for this other thing still, the second thing, and then the first thing sells out. And you go, well, it's okay. That thing exists because I see that one. I'm going to find another one to compare it to. But then you can't find another one to compare it to. And then that second thing, you find it and then you can't find another one to compare it to. And then you realize, oh, I created the first thing and the second thing. And now I have to wait for the first thing to come back in stock because I didn't realize that there wasn't going to be another one, And it doesn't matter that there isn't another one because you manifested what you wanted. You could keep doing that all day long. You only need one. Depending on what you're looking for. But, you manifest it and you go on, you manifest the next thing, you go on, you manifest the next thing, and you go on, and you manifest the next thing, and you get everything you want, and there's still plenty for everybody else. This is what we're talking about right here. Now, some people are blocking. And I have started to talk about, now that I've been able to shoot longer videos, I have been able to talk about the adverse of this, which is when you're blocking, when you don't believe in this, when you don't believe in abundance, when you don't believe in infinity. Some people just don't believe in it. They're like, well, it must end. Well, there must, it's the same concept for both words, infinity, abundance. Well, it must end somewhere. You can't just keep, actually you can. It's probably a whole separate video, but, honestly, there really is, I keep saying it, there really is enough for everybody. There really is. There really is. There's enough for everybody. So, if you're seeing 8s everywhere, and it hasn't happened for you yet, and you don't believe in this, guess what your first step is? If you do believe it and it's coming, if you're not sure what that actually means, pay attention to what's coming to you, all the things that you enjoy. There could be a lot of them. You keep looking, there could be more and more and more, and it could be all little stuff. Maybe you were working towards something, like say you own a business, you've been working towards something, and all of a sudden this stuff starts to float in, there's little streams of income, and you go, what? I've been doing this for months, all of a sudden now? Yeah. Maybe if you were blocking, or maybe a divine timing, or maybe it just needed to build. Sometimes we shift gears and things need to bring momentum, and maybe you wanted this but now you want that, and so the universe has to shift gears. That's why it's really important to know what you want and to not change your mind all the time, because the universe has to shift gears, and then people go, well, I don't get anything I want, and it's like, well, if you want it for 5 minutes, the universe needs time to shift gears. So, it works better for people who constantly know what they want, obviously. But you can still do it. Some things, like we talked about, some things are instant. Some things are instant. But abundance, I hope it's not instant. I mean, even if I won the lottery one day and it was more money than I could possibly imagine, I would hope that there are more things coming, So as much as you want to call, instant, hopefully abundance is like, the gift that keeps giving. You can make that true for you anytime you want. We'll be talking more about abundance and probably even infinity, but definitely abundance and the many forms that it can show up in. Because I don't want to just talk about how it can show up in many different forms, you know, at some point in different videos or the same video, we're going to list them separately to remind you, of all the things. Sometimes it's hard to see when you're, in a mode in life that isn't conducive to being able to poke your head out, above ground and look around. And I get that. But as hard as it might be sometimes, be grateful, be happy. I use the word grateful because grateful always brings in abundance. Appreciation always brings in abundance. So however hard your spiritual awakening might be appreciative that you're going through this right now. That I know that sometimes, like I said, it can be hard. But, there's reasons why we agree to do this. It's not just to be in service. We get stuff out of this too. And I'm not talking about money or cars or whatever. I'm talking, and I'm not even just talking about spiritual gifts either. Sometimes in the bargain there's healing and other stuff too that we get. So I want you to keep in mind, because like I said, you may not be considering something like that. Consider it. Until we meet again.